Good morning. Welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Thursday, the 26th of March, 2009. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S. It's 3:30 p.m. in London. And in Bermuda, it's 12:30 p.m. In Mexico City, it's 9:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, phone in toll-free from the U.S. at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL Instant Mail address is CATEX-TV. We have two birthdays of note today. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, is 69 years old. And Dr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy on Star Trek, is 78 years old today. We also have a little bit of competition. About 30 seconds ago, I'm watching the monitor here, President Obama began a live electronic town hall meeting that's being televised. He's sitting in the White House responding to questions that are being pumped into him on YouTube, and he's answering them. So we may have a little competition today. We cannot compete against the president. We're not pretending to do that. In other news, in its final and third revision of the fourth quarter U.S. GDP, the Commerce Department thinks that it may have finally gotten it right. They say that the U.S. economy experienced its most violent contraction in a generation in the last quarter of last year, with real GDP dropping at a 6.3% annualized seasonally adjusted rate. Experts had been predicting a drop of 6.5%, so this is a little better than what people had been expecting. The third revision is the revision that counts the most because all of the data is in and tabulated. The stock market is up about 43 points right now. The slump was pretty broad-based, declines in every major sector except the federal government. Corporate profits fell at the fastest pace since 1953. Domestic demand fell at about a 5.8% annual rate, which was the biggest drop in almost 30 years. The largest part of the revision came from inventories, where a small increase in stockpiles that had originally been reported, in fact, was a small decline. Also, the number of people in the United States collecting jobless benefits increased to a record 5.56 million, indicating that more people are spending longer times out of work. Initial claims topped 600,000 people for an eighth straight time. Total benefit rolls increased by 122,000 in the week ending March 14th. This is up from 5.44 million the previous week. Initial jobless applications last week rose 8,000 to 652,000. This is in line with forecasts, supposedly. Job cuts are spreading from companies now to government agencies, including the U.S. Postal Service, and to healthcare providers. One expert, a gentleman from moodyseconomy.com in Pennsylvania, said a double-digit unemployment rate now seems unavoidable. And in some big news, the German Rolf Tolle, the franchise director or the underwriting performance director at Lloyd's, is being replaced at the end of this year. Actually, it's going to be a little bit earlier than that, in September, it seems, by Tom Bolt. Tom Bolt is the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway's former Lloyd's insurer, Marlboro Underwriting, and he is going to be the next Lloyd's underwriting performance director. This was initially revealed yesterday by the Insurance Insider, and it seems to be being confirmed. Bolt is a popular choice among Lloyd's insiders, and he'll formally take up Tolle's reins later this year. He joins Lloyd's as it looks very well poised to capitalize from the turmoil that's gripped competitors like AIG. Bolt had led Marlboro Underwriting since it was acquired by Berkshire as part of his £1 billion asbestos loss reserves deal with Aviva back in 2000. He had previously been with Bankers Trust. He remained with Marlboro after Flagstone purchased the syndicate for about £36 million last year. Bolt is an American. He has spent many years in London. Flagstone today announced that Dominic Kirby will replace Mr. Bolt on August 1st, 2009. They mentioned that Bolt has left Marlboro amicably. So that's good news. It's good news for Bolt, and we wish Tom well. We've known Tom since the inception of this company and continue to maintain contact with him. I'm sure that getting access to his appointment book now will be a little bit more difficult, but we'll continue to do so. Right now, in front of the House Financial Services Committee, once again, in a seat that probably has his name on it, is the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury, Timothy Geithner. Geithner is today unveiling an extensive overhaul of financial regulations. This is an effort to prevent a repeat of the banking crisis last fall that wiped out trillions of dollars in investor wealth. Geithner is proposing the administration will seek to regulate the market for credit default swaps as well as other types of derivatives, and also require hedge funds to register with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Hedge funds registering with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Geithner is unveiling the testimony today, and he includes a recommendation for creating a systemic risk regulator, possibly at the Federal Reserve Board, to monitor risks to the entire system. He's also proposing a measure that he discussed with Ben Bernanke in front of the same committee on Tuesday to give the administration expanded powers to take over major non-bank financial institutions such as AIG or hedge funds that were teetering on the brink of collapse. The administration is pushing Congress to act very quickly on its reform agenda, and last night sent Congress a 61-page bill dealing with expanded powers to seize control of non-bank institutions. Barney Frank, the chairman of the Financial Services Committee, indicated that Congress could move on the measure as early as next week. However, it's unclear how fast the financial reform agenda as a whole that Geithner is proposing today might move through Congress. The administration officials are promising that the remaining issues would be hammered out in consultation with the House and with the Senate. He's also proposing that hedge funds be required to register with the SEC if their assets exceed a certain size. This would also include private equity funds and venture capital funds. The threshold amount that would require registration with the federal government is yet to be determined. The proposal on the credit default swaps would require the markets on which they are traded to be regulated for the first time ever, and for the buying and selling of these instruments to be conducted in a way that will provide greater oversight and transparency. Very interesting stuff, indeed. It's a back to the future. We're going back to the regulations of before Glass-Steagall and Glass-Steagall. Early this morning, a tornado touched down in a small Mississippi town. It destroyed apparently dozens of homes and businesses and injured a number of people. Nobody was reported killed. On the main highway leading into McGee, Mississippi, broken power lines and scraps of metal from nearby businesses littered the road. Other reports of downed power lines and damaged homes came in across from the deep south, caused by a band of very heavy thunderstorms and high winds. 40,000 customers are without power in Louisiana. At least 60 homes in McGee, Mississippi are reported to be damaged. The information's a little slow coming in. The area was, of course, surrounded by heavy fog, and these tornadoes hit in the middle of the night, so they were waiting for sun to come up. Meanwhile, up in Fargo, North Dakota, the town is bracing for what is certain to be a cataclysm that's going to start sometime tomorrow evening and go through the weekend. An around-the-clock battle to fill sandbags, build dikes, and begin to evacuate the town continues today. The Weather Bureau has issued a revised forecast for the Red River. It's increased the level of its predicted crest by 1 foot. It's now going to rise to the highest level ever that people have been recording records over 250 years on Saturday. The mayor is pleading with more volunteers for filling 2 million sandbags. They need to raise dikes another foot. They want to get it up to 43 feet. The crest now is expected to come in at 41 feet. The previous record was in 1897. That was 40.1 feet. The 1997 flood that caused $2.5 billion worth of damage came in at 39.57 feet. This is going to come in at 41 feet. This is going to be a real wallapalooza out there. It's not going to be pleasant. We'll go now to a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back with the rest of the news.